I want to ask you about the Anti-Defamation League, which this week called on you to publicly condemn unequivocally the racism of former KKK Grand Wizard David Duke, who recently said that voting against you at this point would be treason to your heritage. Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, you know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
So, Paris, that's the candidate for president of the United States claiming not only doesn't know anything about David Duke, but doesn't know anything about white supremacists.
Right. And so if we're going to talk about facts, Anderson, we can play what he said in March of 2016, a few days later, when he disavowed David Duke.
Right. But why does it take, however many days for somebody to just disavow a known racist who everybody knows who David Duke is? The guy who's running for president certainly knows who David Duke is.
Well, I mean, look, not
everybody knows. The KKK.
Not everybody knows who David Duke is. President Trump.
He doesn't know what white supremacists are?
Anderson, I'm not, listen,
please,
I didn't come on the show to go back and to talk about whether or not he knew someone or what he did not know.
Okay, you brought it up, though. So
No, I didn't bring up the February. I brought up March, which you cared not show, when he did disavow David Duke and he did disavow the KKK. And then a couple days ago, he gave a strong, in my opinion, strong words saying that those hatred, bigotry, and violence have no place in American society. And then today, he doubled down what he said a few days ago and then went further and talked about white supremacy, neo-Nazis, and things of that nature, which are horrific. That's what the president did.
Okay, but so, Dr. West, I mean, the president who has criticized many people by name, but Dr. West, the president, go ahead.
Let's be honest, though. I mean, Brother Paris, you got checkmated by Brother Anderson. You know the president was lying. He knows about David Duke. He knows about white supremacy. He's been in America for a good while. You got to defend him in order to keep your job. We understand that, but let's try to focus on truth for a second here.
No, Brother West.
Let's try to focus on what is the case for a second here, my brother. Come on, man. People have died. I knew Sister Heather. She was with us. If it were not for her and the anarchists, the neo-fascists would have crushed us like cockroaches on Saturday. This is life and death, man. This ain't no game we playing. This ain't no puzzle for people to keep their jobs. There's human beings out here who are suffering, and we got a neo-fascist movement escalating.
4th or 25th? The 25th, last Sunday of Black History Month. This is a great time to be like a black conservative on news media because you're working like crazy. You're working like crazy. So when they said, like in January, that the black unemployment rate is up, I'm like, of course it is, because it's black conservative TV pundits. That's a whole new industry. No, gotcha. But seriously, it's not a hard industry to get into. Right. I'm kind of leaning towards, maybe, because you got to make a lot of money. Most what do you really have to do? Most def. I mean, okay, so take that thing you call dignity, throw that shit out the window. To whatever they say at you. No matter how much it makes sense, just refute that shit, man. Just refute that shit. You know what I mean? Because like Paris Denard's one of those. That's the video I sent you, and I'm going to post a video before of him arguing with Cornel West, where Cornel West kind of just has a breakdown. He just has a breakdown, and he's like, "Why are you lying for Trump?" But it's like you don't have to be smart. You don't know. You don't have to. It's just. You're there to go, look, a black person agrees with us. Yep. That's all you have to be. Yep. How can I be racist? You know what I mean? This coon thinks the same thing that I think. I wasn't even thinking about like becoming a black TV pundit, but like opening up like a school for black TV pundits, like a DeVry for black TV pundits. Conservative pundits. Yo, bro, you're onto something. Holy shit. Am I right? You know what I mean? Right? Fuck computer schools, yes.
black.
Fuck 'em.
You know what I mean? You memorize talking points, certain words like libtards and
conservative. You have to be used to not seeing your family.
Right.
I've been reading some articles. They get disowned a lot, but whatever. Family's overrated. so you just gotta bring them in and like I'll train them. Like, really, you don't have to know any points. You just because most conservatives I find like especially like when they're on the TV, it's all like you said talking points. It's never a real belief. It's all ideology of the party. So you just have to be like, oh fuck, fucking abortions. And here's the thing too. I get into abortions and stuff, but there is conservatism in the black community. That's the one thing that people don't understand. There is that. People think black people are just like liberal, but we're diverse with our political views.
Right. No, it's true. No, most of my relatives, like Christmas dinners, most of my relatives like hardcore Christians. And man, if I had a gay friend, I would not want to bring him over to my house. And the worst part about it is, I think about all those time. Some of my white friends at their Christmas dinner when their parents said something inappropriate about black people, and they'd be like, "That's a bullshit." Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm not going to change their mind.
You have a conservative family member. I'm sure I do, but you have one that's like a Trump, right? He's Trump positive.
Oh boy, the whole time I'm watching the Paris Denard video, I felt like telling you, you know how it could be worse? You know what could be worse? Is realizing you're related to this person. Having them show up to Christmas dinner, you know what I mean? And shit like that.
It's fucking head. Watching that video, he's like, hey, what do you say? Don't tell me how I was raised.
Oh my God, man. My blood pressure is perfect. You know what I mean?
I love it. I the only way that could be better is if Paris Denard was in a dashiki. Not in a dashiki. And then defended Trump.
Like that dude from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. I don't know if you saw that movie.
Yeah, that's right.
The Black Liberation.
And then the white family comes out like pure white.
Hey man, brother's got a mortgage to pay. Fuck that. But hey, what would be worse? That a relative like that or a relative who sells drugs?
Oh fuck! I would say, oh fuck, that's a hard one. The relative that sells drugs, I guess, because like, that's a good question. That is a really good because I'm saying like that's ruining the community.
Community, man. I'm not thinking about the community. I'm like, fuck the police. Fuck.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with black conservative because at least I'm like, yeah, he's embarrassing, but there's no cop showing up.
Right.
Stereotype. It's not a stereotype. This is the thing about the black pundit, right? Let's because I was having this discussion last night with a friend of mine, and I'm like, I hate this fake news stuff, and I'm like, but I understand where people see fake news. He's like, yeah, there is no fake news. There's just news. I'm like, yes. But what I mean by fake news is like when they do the punditry stuff, when they do the discussion. He's like, yeah, but that's different than news. I'm like, yeah, but the average person doesn't see that.
The average person does not see that. Yeah.
They don't see it. They take a topic, like say Trump talking about the Charlottesville thing, right? And he's like, there's good people on all sides. And this is what's happened.
Right.
There's good people on sides. So then what CNN does or Fox News or any of these people.
Yeah.
And I think
devil's advocate.
You have to be smart enough to go, okay, every time I watch CNN, I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, I'll see like Van Jones arguing with Paris Denard. Van Jones is like, yeah, well, that's racist or whatever. And a president shouldn't be condoning Nazis. And then Paris Denard defending Trump, and they elevate both conversations like they're equal. It's like, why are you why are we talking about this other person? What he's defending is nuts. It's crazy.
Do you think it's unhealthy to have Neil deGrasse Tyson on on a panel with B.O.B. to discuss whether or not the Earth is flat?
That's what I'm saying. And then so what happens is for fucking idiots or average people, they go, okay, so this is a fair discussion that we should have, which we've settled these. Like I go back to Jordan Peterson. I talk about Jordan Peterson almost every episode. He has this Fox News, this Vice interview, and he talks about how, has women and men working in the workplace, have we learned anything? It's been 40 years and sexual harassment still happens. And he's like, and they're like, well, yeah, we're fine. And he's like, well, what are the rules? What are the rules? Like if a women wear lipstick, like they wear lipstick to accentuate, right? It's a sexual thing. And it's like, he's not wrong with what he's saying, but what he's saying is dated. Because yes, people put on lipstick, but you wear a suit. Like to look attractive isn't necessarily mean that you're trying to be fucking sexually provoking people. People look attractive at work, so they can get raises or they can be accepted or whatever, right?
Survival tactics, yeah.
Exactly. And yes, it does enhance stuff, but what do you want? You want people to show up naked? Like your argument has been debated a long time ago. It's garbage. This is the thing that, like, Michael Steele? Michael Steele was the RNC chairman for a bit. So this week they had their big CPAC conservative thing, and then Ian Walters, while speaking at the CPAC's Ronald Reagan dinner Friday night, Walters described former President Barack Obama's election as a big deal. He said, "Oh, that's a big deal," but it led to the terrible selection of Michael Steele to head the RNC back in 2009.
Oh wow!
He elected Michael Steele as a chairman because he was a black guy. Walters told the room,
"Wow,
that was the wrong thing to do." So like you're this black conservative, and then all of a sudden you deal with racism, and you're like, what do you like?
Hey man, we've been saying that, man. My brother takes offense to me saying that. Hey man, a lot of racists in the Conservative Party.
But that's my question. Is like, do they think? Is it like they deny it and ignore it, or do they really believe there's no racism?
Do they really believe it's one of those? A lie is effective when you believe in it.
Well, because I was reading this other article on the Root by Michael Harlett, and he was talking about how he went conservative for a week, and like what he realized was it wasn't that they were necessarily racist, but they believed that there was no racism. They believe the stories that they're being told. He was like, watching Fox News, I believe they believe what they're saying. And so that's what I'm wondering is like someone like Michael Steele is like, no, my party isn't racist. And then he gets faced with this. And because if it was a liberal party, and I'm not saying they're not racist, if it was the left, I'm not saying they're not racist because we're tokens and shit. That was my other point is like, you can't be a liberal black person because they already got Van Jones. So like, fuck you.
Right.
You could be a black conservative. They don't have enough of that. So, but they wouldn't, no one would have the balls to go on stage and say that shit. A liberal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's no racism in the Liberal Party. I mean, or in the Democratic Party.
They won't do it out loud on stage. And in the Conservative Party, they think it's just fine and normal. Like, why would you? The guy, Michael Steele's been in their party for 42 years. And you go, oh yeah, that was a mistake because that was tokenism. Like, fuck you.
He believes in the. Here's something I just observed. What? Okay, I was going to say this to the end, but I'm just one point there, right? I've noticed about the Republican Party. And again, and I hate the fucking fact that it makes me about to say this, like, I'm joining the libtard versus Republic, whatever, like I'm playing that game, them versus us. I'm the outsider. I'm a Canadian, right? Outside. But one thing that I've observed about on the conservative side is they love being told they're the best. We're right. They're wrong. Keep feeding that shit into my brain, and I'll buy your book. I'll fucking applaud you at your Senate or whatever. So like they like the illusion. So having Michael Steele there is okay. Well, I guess we're not racist because he's there, right?
Yeah.
But once Michael Steele gets woke, once he starts, hey, yo, there's some racism in the party. Okay, look, this nigga's not playing this game right.
But dude, like here's the thing: like Michael Steele is there,
right?
And he was just told he's a token. But do they believe that they're being racist? You know what I mean? Like I agree with you that they talk about how they're the greatest, they're the blah blah blah. Because they kind of, it goes along with their, the whole capitalist agenda, the American dream, all that horse shit.
Right.
But is it just, we're racist, and or do they, we're not racist? Mm-hmm. And what we said about Michael Steele, because I kind of think they don't know what they're saying, and so there's like a cognitive dissonance. There's a separation between reality and what they think.
Right. How do you become a Michael Steele? Because Michael Steele right now
probably has money. And that's why he's a conservative.
Right.
Michael still probably he probably doesn't believe in abortion.
Yeah.
He probably there's probably a lot of conservative talking points. Like, I don't know, if I was rich, maybe I'd be a conservative. I mean, I'm for abortion, but if I had fucking a shit ton of money and I want to make more money, Conservative Party's fucking the place to be.
Yeah. No, well said. Exactly. Jay-Z and Nas used to rap about that shit.
Right. What I don't understand is how come they don't get more black people in their party. Like, if they just got rid of the racism. But the racism is that's the Southern strategy.
Right.
The Republicans switched up their base because they wooed the Dixiecrats, the Democrats back in the 60s. They wooed them with George Wallace and his dog whistle. George Wallace, a famous conservative, invented dog whistling.
Oh, really?
And then he invented the whole thing. He's like, and who was the guy that worked for Nixon? He's like, you can't. There's a time when you can say nigger, 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 but now you got to talk about states' rights and busing and segregation. Like, you got to wrap it in intellectualism, and encode it, right? So that's what happened. Is they win their elections based on racism. That's how they won the South, based on racism. It's a strategy that Reagan used. It's a strategy that Trump used.
Using racism to advance your cause.
Right, especially in the South, right? They advanced their cause.
Yeah.
And then Trump, even better, used freedom of speech and political correctness, which is just, another dog whistle, which is sad because freedom of speech is an actual, it's a good cause. But
right.
Fuck, I'm telling you, man, it's not hard to be a black, because you're already dealing with people who don't give a fuck about information. Like, they just don't give a fuck about information. They just care about, how do I feel? And white people in the States especially feel like they're being attacked all the time. So if I was black in the States and I was poor, I'd be a motherfucker. I'd get myself a suit.
You know what I mean? Increase my vocabulary.
Make sure my beard is shaved up. I'm gonna those terrorists.
But it's wild because I have a lot of friends who back in the days, they were like the problem child. They were like the guys getting in trouble and all that, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they get their act together, they grow up, they become grown adults, and all of a sudden they can't relate to the guy or the girl they used to be back in the days, and they're developing all these conservatives. They start using these conservative talking points. Like, okay, don't get me wrong, I applaud them for getting their shit together, right? Yep. But them being assholes, like, all of a sudden they don't understand. All these Negroes can't get their shit together, can't pull themselves by their bootstraps, or welfare queens, using words like welfare queens, looking down on all the people who used to be like them, as opposed to, okay, this is how I did it, and this is how I can help out. No, they just look down on these people, and a lot of them end up joining these. You know what? Sometimes I think them joining being conservative is their way of feeling like, I'm grown up now. I've grown up. I'm a better person than who I was before. You know what I mean?
It's self-hate. It's like, you did something in the past, like you. Like I used to jerk off on pillows, right? Like, when I was in high school, I used to fuck pillows.
Break it down.
It's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. And I think I remember when I saw body pillows in comic book stores, those Japanese body pillows, and I'm like, and the first thing I felt was just disgust and shame.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's what it is. It's separating themselves from that and going, they're hating themselves. They're not hating those people. They're hating themselves for being what they were, and they're ashamed of that.
Yes. If I relate to this poor person's mentality, that I'm backsliding. I'm going back to being the piece of shit person I used to be back in the day.
I don't like how I was. I don't like how I was. It's not about the person. To have that kind of mentality, like to have a conservative mentality, it's very selfish. It's all about yourself.
So there's a bit of selfishness, and there's also look, we're working with very limited resource. If he gets paid, I'm broke. We can't.
Exactly.
There's not enough to go around. Shit like that. Yes. Build that wall, man. Fuck that, man. Close the. I already made the joke of every immigrant wants to be the last one to close the door.
Yeah, they want to get out. They don't want anybody else getting in.
Exactly, man. Fuck that, man. I don't want this crime rate to come in. I don't want any of this shit to.
You just have to watch a video on when they talk about DACA. There's always like someone from South America like, I didn't get free education. Why should they get free education? Motherfucker, do you hear yourself? Why should progress happen?
So I have a homeboy who's I doubt he's going to listen to this podcast, right? Not that I plan on saying his name, but he grew up in a bad neighborhood and around all these people and all that stuff. Now, there's one thing, his experience has taught him is there's a lot of scam artists within that community. So that's why when he ain't trying to hear shit like, let's raise the minimum wage because so poor working families could make a living. Now he doesn't hear that. He hears, they're just gonna buy TVs and fuck around and buy more drugs with that shit.
Who's a bigger scam artist? The people getting raising their minimum wage, or the motherfuckers who bankrupt the goddamn economy?
He's not looking at it like that way.
This is the horseshit. You fucking got the car industry.
You don't look at it that way.
Over the economy where we have to have raise a minimum wage because people can't make a living anymore.
Right.
You got Walmart, who's like the biggest welfare recipient, and you're upset with someone in their family. Like, come on, like shut the fuck up.
Dude, that shit bothers me. Is how all these big companies, corporations have convinced themselves, I'm your friend, I'm your buddy. Get out there and defend me.
That goes back to Nixon, right? Like the Supreme Court made it a legal that corporations could be seen as an individual.
Right.
So like that's an actual in the States. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but they made a decision where a corporation has the rights of an individual.
Yo, remember when Mitt Romney got in trouble for? Come on, folks. Corporations are people too.
Well, they are.
Of course, your punk ass would agree with that statement. Yeah.
Do you think you could be a black conservative pundit in Canada? Is there a position there for that?
A black conservative? You getting ideas? I mean,
no, I'm just wondering because I don't know if I've seen it. Like I don't. Because America is very much about opinions and fucking arguing opinions. In Canada, our news is mainly news. We have news.
Right. The Rebel.
I know there's a black guy on the Rebel, or there used to be.
Oh, word?
Oh yeah, there used to be like a fucking nerdy black dude. I forget his name. I don't even want to know his name. I don't give a shit. I'm not looking at it.
I will not lie, yo. I will not lie. If they're looking for one, I will volunteer my brother to. I'm gonna tell my brother, yo, here, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna train you and shit like that.
Why can't you be his agent?
Get me some of this conservative money. Yes.
Yeah, don't do it voluntarily.
I'm trying to get paid here and shit like that. Yeah, and then. I might lose some friends, but I'm in my air-conditioned Porsche, whatever the fuck, 911.
But like anytime there's a race thing, they'll bring that guy's out, and then he like, blah, blah, blah. But you don't see him otherwise, and then that's all you have to do is go, no, that's not racist. Come on,
you know what I mean? Fuck,
that's not racist.
You people see racism everywhere. Shit, man, I can play the role. Jeez, oh man, I can easily.
I'm sick of you got to say stuff like I'm sick of the race card.
Yes.
You got to say these people need to start working. How come? And then you got to say stuff like, well, how come Asians are doing better than whites?
Yes, you know what I mean. Slavery was in the past. I'm sick and tired of these fucking colors bringing that shit up all the time.
At what point can we just move on? In this Black Panther movie,
oh my God,
sick of this shit. It's not hard, man. We could both do it. There's those two girls that are like they're just annoying as shit and they're loud and they just like they're a typical like stereotypical black ladies, but they're conservative. And
The what are they called? The sisters there. Fuck. Black sisters, Trump supporters. But you know what all these things makes me think about? Black sisters, Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And they
what does it make you think about? But like, let's get like.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think Canada would ever have that kind of thing? Do you think
they're called Diamond and Silk? All right. Here's the thing. I just
we could be that. We could be sandpaper and. And we go on and we
and try to out-coon each other. What the fuck?
It's a coon-off.
It's a coon-off.
And we just...
Welcome to the coon-off hour.
See how happy Ezra Levant's face is, just like, just coming.
Yeah, dude, we'd be perfect because you got the light-skinned guy, the dark-skinned guy. It'd be perfect. We represent all aspects of the black demographic. You know what I mean?
Well, also because I'm light-skinned, they would push me ahead of you. Just a bit.
Hey, how's Gavin making more money than me? Oh, he's got more experience.
And then they'll address their questions to me to ask you.
He's mad again. He's mad again. Talk to your boy. Talk to your boy. Hey,
I work. Dude, we could probably make 50
Boku bucks
a month.
Holy shit! I'd probably quit my job. What the?
What are we talking about now? What are we doing?
Right.
We're talking about guns.
Guns, yes. So this past week on Valentine's Day, of course, there was you mentioned there was a shooting in, was it Parkdale, Florida?
It's Park Hill.
Park Hill, yeah.
Yes.
Being numb to it, it's like, it's like I didn't expect this to, like, I'm not being surprised. I'm not going to act surprised anymore. I'm not going to, and all that. But two reasons why I got my attention. One, I saw a video of a bunch of kids in a class, like during the shooting, and they're like hiding from the shooter, and you can hear the shooting in the background, and that shit just got to my head, and it bothered me. And two, on that same day, I did a set, right? And I want to believe that the shooting affected my set because no one was hearing what I had to say that day. That's cool shit to say, right? Okay, whatever. That's a bad thing to say.
I'm glad you figured out a way to make that massacre about you.
hey, I'm gonna be a black pundit, man. That's how it works.
I did a set that night and killed. So, the shooting. No, you know what, B? You're right. I'm sorry. The shooting did affect your set.
And fucked up my. You know what I mean? I'm like, anyways, yeah. I'm just okay. I guess the only reason I'm making this I'm bringing this up is just stories that cross my timeline. How the racist past of gun control. This was on the Al Jazeera website. Another opinion piece, and it's just the bottom line is two things. Is one, how back in the days white people used to be down with gun control, but only on black folks. Because they didn't want, look, man, we don't want, these crazy niggas to flip up. But like, I think, like, there's those white people who spend their entire lifetime worrying about a black uprise, and the last thing they want is black people with guns. And two, during the whole debate about, okay, how do we move forward from this event now, Trump's suggestion, hey, how about we arm our teachers? How about we give them guns to defend these students and shit like that? And if there's one thing
let's deal with one, and then let's deal with one first, and then we'll go to two later on. Or just say your point. Sorry.
No, I'm just just the last part is Philando Castile was a registered gun owner.
Yeah.
He told the police officer, sir, I have to warn you, I have to let you know that I'm carrying a gun right now, right? As he was just asked to show up his ID. Right, I'm carrying a gun. Alarms rang in that officer's head. I'm sure he's one of those people who worries about. Okay, this is the day where black people uprise, and he shoots him. So, like, can you imagine a mass shooting happen, and you're a teacher with a gun, and all the cops show up?
It's weird that like assault rifle. Like when people carry guns in public, it's in the States. It's like going to arrest. Like it's a John Wick society. It's a mentality that everyone can fucking at any moment save the fucking day. It goes back to what you were talking about in the first segment with conservatism. With the fucking right, we're the best. They buy into their own goddamn propaganda.
Yep.
And we know that at the shooting there was a police officer there who fucking ran away, basically.
Bro, I heard about that, man.
And he basically, fuck. And my wife's like, that's cowardly. I'm like, I don't know if I would want to run in there. I mean, I could say yes, I would now, but I'm not in that goddamn situation.
Yo, I think there's two things I was going for his mind. One, I could get shot. Two, and this is probably the worst case scenario, I can be on the news for shooting a white kid.
Yeah. You just close your eyes and start pulling. Bang, bang. It's like Duck Hunt.
You know what I mean?
Bang, bang.
That cop had no choice but to stay back, man. He did the math in his head. He's like, yeah, there's no the best outcome is people calling me a coward, but I'd rather be called a coward.
If you and I were the ARN fucking teacher or whatever, and we went in there and we shot the guy, like didn't shoot anybody else, but we shot the assailant, we'd fucking get in trouble in court. We'd go to jail for some more shit. Or the best, they'd give us like a coupon for Dairy Queen. That's the best they would do for us. They'd be like, okay, fine, you got him. Here's your coupon. Shut the fuck up.
Land of Dairy Queen. Yeah, man.
Here's your second point. You're talking about Trump arming.
Someone suggested, let's give these teachers guns.
I was laughing so hard. It's like in front of the kids that went through the situation.
Bro,
dude, I've been saying this since he said it. I'm like, if I came up in a school where teachers were armed, I would have been shot. I was a horrible child.
Same here. Yeah, I scared a few of my teachers. Yeah.
I've given teachers nervous breakdowns. I would have been shot. You're gonna arm teachers? You cut their budget from like fucking $9 million or $9 billion, and you're gonna put guns in their hands and train them. And then, let's get those soldiers who have PTSD to work in schools. So someone closes the locker too loud and they go off. Yeah, there's fucking genius. My
parents grew up in the era of they used to tell me, like, when we were in Haiti, you'd have a teacher with a belt beside you, you know what I mean, and she did ask you to read, and every time you fucked up, bang, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my parents' group.
You too, right. Yo,
nuns.
I didn't think it could go anywhere backwards with arming teachers.
That's wrong. That's where you're wrong.
You know what I mean? I need you to recite the alphabet backwards. Fuck up one letter and bang, bang, rat-a-tat-tat-tat in your ass.
Yeah, it's like the deer hunter. So they have one gun with a bullet in the chamber. You don't know where it is. And then when they ask you to read from the textbook, if you fuck up, you got to click the gun. That's how you teach kids to learn to read. You put the fear of God in them.
Holy shit, yo, man. Oh, American kids are surpassing Chinese kids. Oh, what the fuck?
They are, but there's a lot of wet pants. There's a lot of shit pants, and they just went to diapers. Diapers in the schools. That's going to be the next thing. Diapers in the schools.
Diapers in the school. Yeah, these kids can't cut.
Like when you suggest, like, let's arm the teachers, it's like, what? You should have, just in case the school catches on fire, you should have a fire in the school. You should have a fire already in the school. And then if it catches on fire, you already have a fire.
You already have a fire. Right. Exactly.
Like, you're so bought. But that's the beauty about Trump is that it's like, you're clearly being paid by the NRA. Oh. You're clearly getting paid off.
Bro.
You can't even say, hey, maybe we should look at legislation. Not even that. You can't even say, let's look at it, like most fucking idiot lying senators say. But you can't even say, hey, let's look at legislation. It's like, no. We should arm the teachers. It's like he's never been to school.
Wow. Go figure, eh? Yeah.
But my wife just sent me an article apparently on The Hill, and it's, reputable, the Hill, where he's like, there should, they believe that violent movies are to blame. He said there should be a rating system.
I heard about that. That and gaming. But it's easy to blame the gamers,
But there is a rating system.
Go figure. Yes, it's true. Yeah, there is a rating system. Stop being respected. You know what I mean? Hey,
who is this caveman they have as a fucking president? It's like he just got thought out. It's like he's never been around. Like, we should have a rating system.
Yo, hey, did you see when he was at that town hall meeting with a bunch of people who agreed with him? A bunch of kids, I guess. That's what I was told. And he had like notes. You know,
yeah, that's the one I was talking about when there's all these fucking victims of the shooting, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you start teachers?" And then he had the notes.
I hear you. To say shit like "I hear you," yeah, that sucks.
It's compassion. you have to write down.
Holy shit, man.
To be a human.
I don't know if he was giving us a middle finger by, hey, look at my notes, or did he fuck that up?
He's such a sociopath. He doesn't. He's like, oh fuck, how do I act like a human? Oh, I gotta write this shit down. So you say, are you okay? That's good. That's good. Let me write this down.
You know what I mean?
Thanks for coming. Oh my god, where do you come up with this shit?
Yo, hey, you know what? Probably on the other side of the notes, the reason why he didn't flip it out, on the other side, it was a lot worse. Like shit, like, you know, don't say nigger, don't say nigger, terms not to use, and
don't fall asleep in the middle of this.
You know what I mean? And for God's sake, don't grab her by the pussy. No, please, for God's sake,
grab nobody by the pussy. This isn't the time to talk about Pocahontas.
You know what I mean?
Don't say shithole country.
You know what I mean?
It's just like there's no spaces in those.
Holy shit, man! The notes on the other side of his what do you call that? Cue cards were a lot worse.
Oh my god, he's such a sociopath. He's perfect. Here's my thing is like gun control. Everyone's talking about gun control with these AR-15s, which is ridiculous. That I put out a tweet the other day about how the Second Amendment people are always like, the citizens need guns to protect themselves from the government, which is like the government spends $6 billion.
Shit.
And it keeps going up on the military.
Yeah.
Do you think your $750 AR from they don't even have to show up at your door? They got drones.
They got drones, dog. Yes.
It's done. It's finished, right? You lost that war. If you have to go against your fucking local police station, you're fucked. You're done, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's militarized. But like they're talking about gun control, which I think is like a small portion of it. I do believe there should be gun control, but you're living in a country, and this is the problem from how I see it. You live in a country that, first of all, stole land from people that they still live with.
Bang.
And then they separated from a country because they didn't want to pay taxes anymore. And then they fucking kidnapped people and made them work for free for how many years, and so on and so forth. So what you're dealing with a mentality that's been passed down from generation.
Yes.
It's in the bones of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yes,
these are people who are terrified something is around the corner because every decision they make, like we talked about the black conservative pundits in the first segment. Stacey Dash, this is the point I want to make in that segment, but I didn't. Stacey Dash got fired from Fox News or suspended because she was like, Obama won't do anything about terrorists, right? Like because when you're black, you got to be 10 times better. When you're conservative, you got to be 10 times more of a racist.
Right. Fuck
white people to be an equal. But like that mentality of the terrorists are coming to get me, or the fucking black people are coming to get me, or the fucking natives are coming to. Everyone's coming to get you.
Yes.
We're dealing in a world where people believe that, where even the president believes there's a white genocide. He doesn't say it, but he's like, oh well, it's unfair. Everything is coming to get these white people. So you live in a culture of that. It's in the bones. That's because we have the video games, we have violent movies, we have more guns in Canada. Yep. Canada has more guns.
I was not aware of that.
We're not fucking shooting each other in schools. I mean, like this is a weekly fucking. This is the 18th since the beginning of the year.
Right. Yeah.
So they're terrified.
Yo,
I think they're terrified.
Yeah. And what kills me is the fake sympathy afterwards. I'm sure people mean well, but the reality is when people say thoughts and prayers, what they're really saying is, thank God it wasn't my kid. It was your kid, not mine.
And my kid won't be a part of that because they live in a gated community. I have health care.
Right,
I take more welfare than fucking your welfare queens. You know what the joke is? You know what will really stop gun control? Take money out of fucking politics.
Yeah.
Like stop. You have lobbyists. Take the money out of the politics. You take the money out of the politics. You watch motherfuckers change. Because the fucking sharks. Do you know what movie is the movie that made me understand politics was Distinguished Gentleman. Have you ever seen that?
What? No, Distinguished Gentleman?
Eddie Murphy. It's one of his movies from the 80s. It's called Distinguished Gentleman. It wasn't that popular, but it's basically about a con man who becomes a senator.
Really? Oh, yeah. Wait. I think I've seen this a long time ago.
Yeah, man. It fucking sums it all up.
Yes, I have seen it.
If you take the money out of politics, then these motherfuckers, these con men that are making money, aren't going to do politics. It's going to be left to fucking people who actually want to make change.
Wow.
Because lobbyists you have a lobby, like the idea, like if you have the lobbyists, people who are represented by companies to pay off senators to share their opinions and do whatever, like you can't win. You cannot beat out the Koch brothers.
Okay, I forget her last name. I can't pronounce her last name. Donna Loesch?
Loesch. Yeah, Loesch.
Whatever. Okay, so
she's a fucking devil. Yeah, anyway.
She's the devil. Okay, yeah.
She's the NRA spokesman. She's like hired to speak on behalf of the NRA, but she's like fucking.
Oh my god,
it's cold. It's sexy.
Yo. Okay, so that's the thing that they do with these conservatives. They get these good looking women. Or they get black dudes who just willing to coon the hell out of of the topic. But okay, so for Donna Loesch, okay, I'm gonna full disclosure, right? First thing that came to mind is, damn, I'd hit it. Not hit her. Fuck. I'd hit it. You know what I mean?
Dude, when I saw her, she was like, what would she say? I'm with you. That's what you were like in the beginning. I don't know if you're going to. No, I thought when I saw her, like, she was like talking about how you don't give a fuck. The media loves she said something about how the media loves school shooting because it's ratings. And I'm like, oh, she's so she's wrong but sexy.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Fuck, do you? Okay.
I don't mean to objectify women. I'm more. It's more of a reflection.
Not objectifying women. This is like a one woman you're objectifying, and I'm with you on it.
It's more of a reflection of. I think I need to see a shrink about it. Like I'm realizing this is like a confession show for me at the same time that I think I'm attracted to women strong women or who appear to be strong. Like when she's like, I could tell she's, hey man, I'll pop a cap in your ass. You fuck around. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll take mine. I won't speak for you, but I like mean women.
You do what I mean?
No, I do. I love mean women. I love my wife's a mean woman.
Oh shit!
But she's sweet, right? But like there's a difference between her. Like Loesch is one of those. Oh, I don't want to have a relationship with you. You know, but I do like mean women. But she's like, oh my god, you're mean.
She's
you're
fucking
like,
mean.
You make me feel like a piece of shit.
Holy shit!
Make me feel like a piece of meat and a piece of shit. Like, get out. Do you ever remember The Wire? Remember the woman that McNulty was dating, the politician?
Yes, her, the campaign manager for Carcetti.
and she's like, what are you still doing here?
What do you mean? Oh yeah. Okay, after exactly.
Yeah, that was.
McNulty was catching feelings, and she's like, "Dude, I got some work to do, man. Beat it, come on."
And he was like, he was catching feelings.
I thought we had something going on. All right, now,
I have work to do.
Just because I don't want to die, and those are my last word, Donna Loesch. But so we established that attractive and mean as fuck. Now, she's another woman using another white person using racism to advance their cause. You know what I mean? Tradition which started ever since the slave ship. But in her speech to the full CPAC, was it 2018 address, she goes, you guys love to see crying mothers, but did she say it? But don't give a fuck about the crying black mothers?
Yeah, she says they care about white white women faces.
Yes, it's just true. I mean, the shit that black people have
And
known.
Chicago, she brought up Chicago, and like, there's a whole bunch of bullshit in that, right? Like,
Well, the interesting thing about
black people, you don't give. You're just using it to fucking advance your own cause,
bro. It's it was at that point that I, like, listening to her speech. It was at that point that I realized I think conservatives are just a group who just want to be told what they want to hear. Fuck science, fuck reality, feed my ego with how I'm right and you guys are wrong. Because I'm looking at her, I'm thinking, is this shit an act? Because the way she was just like,
she's smart because she's using liberal talking points against them, right? Like, because they look at it as liberal media. You go to CNN, it's liberal media, and they're going, "Oh, well, you're racist." And liberal white people don't want to be called racist. Conservative people don't want to be called racist, but liberal people don't want to be seen as racist.
Yes.
So that's her call on it. It's like, hey, and she's dog whistling.
Yes.
She's dog whistling people on her own side. She doesn't give a fuck about us.
yes, oh no, most definitely.
She doesn't give a fuck about. And also the conservative talking point when they talk about Chicago, it's horseshit. Chicago isn't the most violent city in the States. I have the statistics here. I'm trying to find it, but Chicago is not the most violent city in the States. There's other cities that are more violent.
But even at that point, I'm glad you brought up Chicago because there's another article that another opinion piece that I read and about how black people or black youth have been like fighting for gun reforms for a long time, and a lot of these movements or some of these movements actually come from Chicago. Like, people act like, the violence going on in Chicago, black people are just, no. There's actually activism. There's actually activists on the floor fighting the organization. They just don't get media coverage. It's just not sexy. It's not attractive enough. You know what I mean?
No, because they don't give a fuck about people being shot. I had an argument with a dude. What about Chicago? You don't care about Chicago.
You don't give a fuck about Chicago.
Another guy was like, look how terrorists or Muslim people treat women. It's like, yeah, we treat women bad too here. Like, we're not good. They don't give a fuck. It's just a talking point.
It's just a talking point. Look, I just want to be right in this conversation. Yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying about conservatives want to be fed with, I'm right, you're wrong. Feed me with what argument can I use to shut this liberal up? Okay, yeah. What about the gun violence in Chicago? I mean, what about them? What about black on black violence?
I'm on the Pew Research Center. Despite recent shootings, Chicago is nowhere near U.S. murder capital. Right, so it's Chicago isn't as bad as everyone is. I mean, I'm sure it's bad, but they're saying like annual murder report: Michigan, Detroit, New Orleans, Birmingham, Alabama, Richmond, Virginia, District of Columbia. They're all worse than Chicago.
Oh, worse than Chicago.
But they can. But again, it's also dog whistle bullshit. It's like saying ghetto. It's
exactly
you know what you're talking about. Like it's horseshit.
Yeah.
She doesn't. It's so evil. It's so evil and attractive that just slip that in there. But it's so evil. Like you're like, oh, I'm looking. This is what makes me like wonder about the world. Is like when you're at a certain percentage, income percentage, you understand the game better than us because. There's no fucking heaven and hell. There's none of this shit.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck. You're making money. It's all capitalism. That's all it is. It's all capitalism. Like fucking arming, putting guns in the teachers, giving teachers guns is more income for the NRA.
Yes. You know
and the NRA doesn't even represent most gun owners. It's like a small percentage. Like the NRA represents a small percentage of the population.
Yeah.
That's the other scary thing. They just have more money.
They got more money. Yeah.
They represent gun companies. It's all horseshit. Right?
I was just reading about some meme about the guy who cured polio, the doctor who cured polio, and apparently this dude could have patented the idea, but instead he shared it with everyone. And I guess what he got to show for it is, he died with, look, he was such a great man. But had he patented the idea, he would have been a billionaire. And it just made me think about how, like the Donald Trumps, the politicians who get paid by the NRA to say, look, guns are not the problem. It's mental illness. Guns are not the problem. We got crazy people who have access to these guns. Or what about the crime in Chicago?
Even that argument. First of all, gun violence is down. In gang violence is down in Chicago. Gun violence in America is down. It's down.
See, this is why you couldn't be a conservative pundit. See, this is why you couldn't be a conservative pundit right there, man.
I know.
We're trying to make some money here, and you're bringing up all these fucking facts and shit like that. You know what I mean? You're fucking up the Kunoff hour, bro.
Here's what's up. White terrorism is up. White terrorism is on the rise. And the fucking that narrative of fucking mentally ill is the thing that bothers the fuck out of me. Why are they always mentally ill? Why do you need to humanize these motherfuckers? White people always need to humanize white people, and then black people, that's just, or brown people, it's just in our nature. We're just animalistic. These motherfuckers are.
That's part of the whole conservative rant. Hey, we want to believe that we're the human beings.
I know.
These guys are the animal.
These guys are the animals.
Keep feeding me that shit. You know what I mean? I'm starting to understand strippers more now. Strippers, because they entertain drunk dudes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And they want to be fed the fantasy that no. I'm doing this because I like you. It's not about the money. I'm doing this because there's something special about you.
Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you are, do me a favor. Go to iTunes right now. Leave a comment. Leave a rating. It'll help us out so much. Hey, also, if you want to follow us on social media, that'd be great. You can follow us on Twitter at MRD Podcast, on Facebook at Master Race Debaters, and on Instagram at MRD Podcast. We're also on YouTube. If you got comments and suggestions or just want to drop us and say, hey, fuck you guys, you can email us at masterrdpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, we'll take your emails. We'll respond. Trust me. We got nothing better to do. Anyway, here we go. Without further ado, me and B Black getting back into it.
Can I tell you this? I am so uncomfortable having this conversation. And that's what this woman said before this, because I know what's in my heart. And I know that I don't think anyone is different, better, or worse based on the color of their skin. But I feel like there is nothing any of us can say right now without being judged.
This is our white tear segment where we discuss the shedding of white tears in the week. So this University of North Texas official and future candidate for Dean of White Fragility. So apparently this Nancy Colsty.
Okay.
She sent out an email. She was complaining that the UT buildings they started naming buildings, right? And they gave a black woman, the name of a black woman, to one of their buildings.
Okay.
But all the other buildings have been white men. And she said the building should be named after, this is what she said in her email. The building should be named after individuals who are deserving of such an honor, not individuals who are chosen to fill a quota system that you think the university should have because you feel it is important to promote diversity in every aspect of student experience. So, that she didn't deserve it.
Right,
she just, it's diversity. So they didn't get into any specifics of people or anything. It's just,
it's funny how
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's funny how these same people will complain about filling in quotas and affirmative action, but when it comes to the Donald Trumps of the world, no, I don't see any.
He was sent by God. Donald Trump was sent by God.
He was not like the last white president. He's not like filling the quota. Hey, we need another white president.
That narrative of we don't deserve something, that entitlement of whiteness. It should be mine because I earn it. Because, but you can't call them a white supremacist, even though that's the very definition of white supremacy. The idea that being white automatically makes you a better person, and being black is or brown person or whatever means lesser.
Yeah. Same goes for people who hey, Wakanda's not real. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but when you start putting too much emphasis, look, there's no fucking possible way Wakanda should exist. Not even in your mind. Okay, dude, you might want to reevaluate your white supremacist.
Yeah, you want to be.
Who you calling a white supremacist? I'm just saying, if it's bothering you to the point you might want to reevaluate your views.
This is
on
all
the
white genocide. This is all white genocide. Best genocide
a
ever.
world where these colored folks don't need the white man to provide them with new technology. What kind of shit is that? Yeah.
Well, this is what kills me is like every fucking person. You have a story of this shit. You get some fucking small achievement. I remember fucking being in a car and some dude telling me how I got my first comedy special. I worked my ass off. I couldn't get it the year before because they thought I didn't know what I was doing. This is the dichotomy with racism when you're trying to achieve shit. When you have to work 10 times as hard,
bro.
And then they say stuff like, "Oh, I don't know if you can do this," and you've been in the game for a while,
right.
Or they sit there and they tell you the reason you got it is because you fucking and you're basically fucking over some white person.
Right.
Meanwhile, like they gave out 13 spots for the comedy special, and fucking 11 of those spots are white, and 2 were people of color. And you're saying that my one spot out of all 11, I was the one that blocked you, and you're deserving.
I mean, because, you can expand. You're talking about comedy. I could just like I went to college, did a 3-year program, right, and got a full-time job out of it. And you got a dude who's like, you would think this is like I want to call it human nature, but the person who works half as much as you expecting to get more than you. Like I've had people, like I went to college, I did like I built up my resume and experience and I got a full-time gig to show for it, right? And then I'm in the government, and then you'll get one dude who thinks that, oh well, he may not have a college, may not have gone to post-secondary or anything like that, and first that comes to his mind is, oh, well, I guess they have to fill a quota with you. So, asshole, motherfucker. I mean...
Well, again, but you can't use the word white supremacy. That's like... I mean... that's just life.
Yeah. No, I just fuck, you're gonna die a loser. Fucking ain't shit I can tell you. Like I'd rather argue with the thoroughbred, like the white dude who's like... wants to, I made it because I deserved it. I fought against the best, as opposed to I'm a mediocre motherfucker, but I deserve the world.
That's what, like, I'm doing a bit about it. That's where they're catching their asses. Like, accept your mediocrity. This is like, just accept your mediocrity. As humans, accept your mediocrity.
Yes.
The thing is like you've had it easy, like easier.
Yes.
And so your accomplishments are different than us, right? So what happens is you're treated you've gotten soft.
Yes. Yeah.
You get soft, and then you have people, like I said in the last fucking few segments, hopefully we caught it, that we have to work 10 times as hard. Like Stacey Dash has to be 10 times as racist. 10 times as racist. Equal her, white conservative counterparts.
Right.
We work 10 times as hard. And what's happening now because of the economy and shit, people don't, like, I don't know if you know this, but I don't mean you, but these people, companies and politicians don't give a fuck about your race. They care about your money. And so what's happening is they're taking the best people, and the best people, and this is why they're all like this white genocide or fucking Black Panther. And that's what Black Panther scares them, is like, oh, you kept us out for so long,
right?
With excuses of nobody wants to see this, and we worked hard under that. We had to be 10 times as good to get a portion of it. And then this movie comes out, or Get Out comes out, or stuff. And I'm just using movies as an example, but this is across the board. We're better than you because we worked harder than you, because we had to work under pressure where you didn't have to, where it's just automatically you walk. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like I remember doing shows and going to like some fucking small all white town, and then like doing not as well as the headliner or the white guy on the show. And then they'd or my opener would come up to me and be like, well, you need to do it. I'm like, dude, this is not my fucking crowd.
Right.
Small town white people.
Right.
You walk in there automatically. Let's see you in my crowd and walk in there and relate to them automatically. You already have a step up. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying is that you have the luxury of your perspective being the dominant one.
Right.
Your experiences are the dominant one.
Acknowledge the playing field. Acknowledge, you know what I mean? You don't have to...
And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. That's what these people are fucking freaking out about, is that the playing field is fucking completely turning now.
Yeah.
They're not the dominant.
Yeah. I wanted to joke about how How about, my problem with equality is the fact, because it's more to address the fact how I've benefited from inequality. For example, I went into the computer fields, which is a competitive field, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm also the guy who's benefited a few times from, like, a lot of my wins are the fact that the other players couldn't show up to the game, so I win by default. So I wonder if women were encouraged to go into STEM fields, whether I would have the job that I have today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if more women had gone into the computer field, you know what I mean? So that lineup for number one, I would have been further away from it.
Well, like especially black women. If like women in black, but especially black women, if they were like if the idea of, okay, well, I don't have to deal with some shit in this business anymore, and they would jump into any fucking person that's a minority in your fucking field is going to work 10 times harder than you.
Oh, most def.
Because they know they're the first one out the fucking door. Like I go into writing rooms and it's all white people. I gotta write 10 times as much.
I'll hustle them. Yes, yeah.
Hustle the fuck out of it, and they get mad at me. White dudes get mad when I worked on comedy. White dudes would get mad at me, but I'm like, I'm submitting fucking 20 sketches. You submit 2.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if like a couple of them are shit. I'm gonna fucking submit as much. It's volume.
Yo, I
gotta be 10 times better than you.
I don't consider myself. Look, when Black Panther, Wakanda, when I was looking at Wakanda, I kept telling myself, yo, I wouldn't make it in Wakanda because I'm too much of a slacker, man. A lot of these guys and gals look like they worked their asses off. They were the top of their class, and I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
Well, there's got to be Wakanda slackers.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
There's got to be a lower fucking a bunch of dudes.
Yo,
there's going to be the Black Trust Fund motherfucker in Wakanda. The person opened up the scrapbook store.
Exactly, man. It's gotta be.
There's gonna be that in Wakanda. Because that's how you know that fucking the playing field's equal.
Yes.
You could be a lazy motherfucker.
Yes.
Or an unachieving asshole, and you're black.
Yes. I give him that. Yeah.
Well, you wanted to talk about the Laura Ingraham thing too, right?
Laura Ingraham, man, this lady. Okay,
she get. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
She just But for those who don't know, she got pissed off at some video that LeBron James and is that Kevin. Is it? Fuck! He goes by black card. Durant. Yes.
Also, just a little FYI. Laura Ingram's a Fox News host or pundit.
Yes, an older one.
She's known for being like Ann Coulter, Tommy Lauren.
She's an older version of those two. Yeah.
She's a harder version of those two. She was actually. There's a video of her giving a Nazi salute in the RNC thing.
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. So just a little backstory. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a video that went out about LeBron and Kevin expressing their views about Donald Trump. How he's out of touch, and basically, you haven't heard already, right? About he's out of touch and shit like that. And then Laura Ingraham, to satisfy her conservative base, to want to be told we're the best, and they're ignorant. She gets on the microphone, start talking about how LeBron, what's the word she used? Unintelligently or incoherently dissed our president, our white president, and she ends the segment with, look, buddy, shut up and dribble. She just as well said, nigger, just shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
And it made me I wonder if, lady, come on, man. Are you gonna act like you've never heard the statement? Shut up and make me a sandwich. I mean, do you not see the equivalence to that? Yeah. To you saying that and someone else telling you? But no, her base they don't want to hear that. No, they want to hear. Shut up, coon! You're making a whole bunch of money dribbling this ball. We ain't trying to hear your political opinion unless it agrees with mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's totally Fox Newsing, as I would call
Fox
it.
Newsing, yes.
She got the attention she wanted, because that's the thing, right? Like it's all partisan now. It's everyone's playing to their base. So everyone turned on her, and everyone's like, "Oh, fuck her," but her base is like, "Fucking right, man. Tell those fucking people to shut the fuck up.
I was thinking
play your basketball.
Thinking the exact same thing.
Entertain me, nigger."
Yes, you know what I mean. It's like, how's that racist? How the fuck is that racist?
The irony of you're telling a basketball player that that they're only good for basketball, and you're a celebrity, shut the fuck up, when she's a celebrity, because that's all she is. She's not she's a celebrity.
Correct.
And their president is a celebrity.
Correct.
The irony that you're not supposed to take the black celebrity seriously.
Correct.
And you're being told this by a celebrity about a celebrity that's in charge that you completely took seriously. You completely took someone who's a fucking celebrity and made him the fucking most powerful person in your country, and you want one celebrity not to comment on the other celebrity. Like, the fucking the balls on people are amazingly huge. It's just she Fox News. She Fox News. She told her base, hey, let's tell these niggers to shut up.
You know what I mean?
Basically, that's the lynching, right? That's what that is. That's the lynching.
Hey, play your position.
Using the ropes and the fire and all that shit.
Stay in your place. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, know your role.
You know your role. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to play the game of I'm right, I'm wrong, or I like to be on the side of truth, honesty, as much as I can handle it. I guess that's what I'm going to say. Or I don't say righteousness, but the side that says, okay, this is what I believe. What's everyone else thinking? Okay, can I build on other people's opinion, other people's thoughts and shit like that? Now, I'm not trying to say that I side with the person. You got the Klan on one side saying kill all black folks, and you got black folks saying we want our civil rights. I'm not saying I'm the person in the middle saying let me hear both sides of the story. No, I'm not that guy. I'm saying, okay, you want to go left, I want to go right. Why do you want to go left? And can we synergize can we figure out a solution that's best for the both of us? That's better than
what are you saying? Like talking to Laura Ingraham?
No. I guess I'm getting back to conservatives seems to be the party of look, just help me believe what I believe is right.
The problem is ideology, right? Like the problem is, I was reading a study about the conservative brain. They're and this is apparently it's not. As I was watching a video about it from Think Progress, and they're saying that this is not for every conservative, but it's 71%. They have a portion of their brain is larger that is, and they find with 71% of conservatives that takes in fear. And I think the Democrat or liberals, there's a portion of the brain that is able to deal with information and take information in and change with information. And so you're dealing with people who are ideologically based.
I see. Okay.
You're dealing with people like it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what information. There's no debate. That's the problem. It is. I am right and you are wrong.
Right. How about this? Let me flip it this way, right? How do you know for yourself, Gavin Stephen, you're not sorry. How do you know you're not the moron in the conversation?
Like, how do I know this is not like confirmation bias that what I talk
Right. So, you're not guilty of everything you're criticizing them for doing.
I'm sure there's a portion of confirmation bias, but I also like for example, someone posted something about Chicago, and I'll go look it up right away. I'm like, all right, let me look up what the stats on Chicago is. Like, if I'm going to jump into a conversation, right, I don't have some backup. So exactly, I do a lot of that. I read a lot, and I try not to, but I'm sure I do have a level of confirmation bias. Right. It's like Dunning-Kruger effect. You don't know how bad you are at something because you have a bias towards it. So, like, yeah, I probably do, but at the same time, I try to do as much research. I'm trying to be aware of that as much as I can.
My philosophy is the one of the person who knows the most is the one who realizes he doesn't know anything.
Usually the case, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I accept the fact that there's always room to learn, There's never any like doubt is my guiding principle. Anytime that I feel that I'm an expert on a topic, and then someone says something to, hey, like or introduces a view that I didn't have before, I'll consider it. I'll balance it out and weigh it against what I know, and basically I'm always willing to learn. I guess that's what it comes down to.
I'm willing to learn too, but my problem is like, okay, I have a problem with like pseudoscience when people are like using like, you know, the bell curve, that dude that's been debunked years ago. Ooh. Or when people use like I saw someone like post something about these people, blah, 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 they're offended by everything. And it turns into like this cliched talk. Or I'm just like, do you back up what you say? Or people who have no empathy, like people who like look at that native kid that got shot and like, that's what happens when you touch a fucking ATV. You got like, fucking motherfucker, you're justifying murder. Right. He shouldn't have touched the ATV. He should that's where I have a problem. That's where I'm like, I feel I'm right. Right. I'm like, I don't think anyone should be shot for doing what teenagers do. That's the stuff I argue about when it comes to like, you know, like real policy, like taxes and shit like that. I got to really look that shit up, and I got to look at both sides of it. Right. But when it comes to like fucking shit that's already been disproved, that's been like the gender argument. Everyone's having this gender that's been disproved years ago by scientists. Like sex is two. Gender is a fucking spectrum. Right. It's a spectrum. Gender's a spectrum. It's been proven by scientists. It's like, why am I going backwards? It's like Jordan, like we talk about Jordan Peterson in the first segment, where it's like he's arguing about whether women and men could work together in the workplace. Like, think about that. Like, why are we debating this? Because sexual harassment and what's the rules? It's like, well, we know the rules. A woman putting on lipstick, it doesn't mean I get to fuck her. Or doesn't mean we know the rules. Right. It's asinine. So I maybe I'm wrong, but I feel I'm right on those kind of things. Like when and I don't think I'm emotional. Like when H&M did the monkey T-shirt, and people were like, "Oh, that's not racist." Oh no, it is racist. Holy shit, yeah. Holy fuck. Whether you are offended by it or not, that's a different topic. But it is racist. Yes. But then they try to conflate it to you're offended. No, something can be racist, and I don't have to be offended. I don't have high expectations for white people. So, so when they put out a monkey shirt, I'm like, of course you put out a monkey shirt. Of course you did. Yeah. Of course you did. So don't act like I'm offended, but I'm not offended. I just know that's racist. Yeah. So don't tell me it's not.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, if you want me to believe that we're in a post-racial society, well, you're gonna knock off that that monkey shirt or doing shit that you've been doing in the fucking past. You know, you've done before. Well, that's the thing is like policies, politics, and stuff like that. I'm not an expert on it, and I try to educate myself better. But when it comes to the culture war, which is what, and we're talking Americans, but Canada's kind of the same thing too. Like the Republicans own the Senate, they own the presidency, and they own the whatever. What's the other, the Supreme Court and all that shit. They own everything. Right. They're in charge of everything. So what they do is they go into culture wars. They go into like gender, blah, blah, and all, the bullshit. Fucking, should women be working? It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. These culture wars are bullshit. Why is Black Panther bothering you? All right, man. Do you want to wrap this one up? Yeah, man. That's pretty much it, man. Just I feel like I've gotten a lot out of the system, especially me wanting to bang what's her face.
You don't need to remember her name.
Exactly, but now that it's out, okay, all right. I can see the